Right. Hello, this is Richard from the Metal Cell Podcast. I've got Molarbear in the house. I've got Andy, Rowan and Eddie. How the hell are you, lads?
Yes, man. You
good, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's great to see. It's been a while probably since you've even been down to Cork. When was that? Can any of you recollect? We usually have a good wild one down in Cork anytime you're down anyway. There's beers to be had.
Last summer, maybe. It was definitely.
I think.
Yeah.
Was that with Audible Joes and Selkies, or was that a previous one?
Yeah, that was Fred Zeppelin's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rest in peace,
All I remember
Selkies.
are the sidewalks, trying to carry gear down the sidewalks that dip every 5 feet, and you're carrying a cabinet speaker, and trying to get from the car park to that bar was amazing.
It's not unusual for people to kind of complain.
It was a great gig, though.
Yeah, it was warm.
Last venue.
Yeah. And again, you know, the journey down, what is it? Probably, I actually made it to Belfast in 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours, 10 minutes from Cork.
Not that far from Laois.
How long did it take you to get down?
Geez, about 4.5, maybe 5.
Yeah, about 5. But we did take a stop off.
Okay.
Yeah. At the Barack Obama Plaza.
Barack Obama Plaza, yeah.
Yeah.
Suits you, sir. Was it worth the stop?
Supermax.
Rock and roll, baby. And what about parking when you got to Cork? Who was the driver, first of all, and who was the navigator? Two important roles in a band, always.
I think
Mo was both.
Yeah.
Was it two trips?
We NCP around the corner, which isn't too bad. It's 5-10 minute walk.
Yeah.
But no, like Cork's great. Like every time we play Cork, we're just like, yes. So
Cypress Avenue was amazing when we played down there. It was like luxury. TV screens and stuff like that. Like you could sit here and watch other bands. It's amazing.
Yes. And have you been down since the revamp?
I have, for the Elder Druid show.
Oh yeah, you were.
There you go. Something else, isn't it?
And that was some job.
Yeah.
That was being treated like a human being at a gig. That was unreal. There's the shower. Oh, now help yourself to some crisps. Are you doing well? Yes, man. Come and do a podcast with Richie. Yes, this is class.
Jesus Christ, Andy, I forgot all about that. Fucking hell, yeah. Yeah, Andy stepped in, man, at the last minute. So the boys had to drag all the gear up, and then I nabbed you straight away and into the VIP room.
Yeah.
Nice and chilled out. Jesus, Andy, was that 2019, was it? Or
I
18?
can't remember, Richie, to be honest.
Fuck me, man. It's crazy.
Last year, wasn't it? That was your moonlighting year.
I'll say, I can't remember time. Like,
do you know what? It's easy to figure out because they released Golgotha this year, so that was 2020. So it was 2019. Had to be.
Yeah, it must have been, because I had to learn a couple of tracks off that one. So yeah,
We did a good job bluffing it, man.
Oh,
There's been no gigs this year whatsoever anyway, so it must have been last year.
Yeah.
Christ, Eddie, do we have to go down that rabbit hole already? No. Oh yeah, lads, it's a tough one, but I know for a fact you have been busy, and courtesy of Andy, he's given me a load of fucking demos to listen to.
Oh no.
Yeah, and seriously great stuff. What I did actually was I threw the whole lot onto Reaper, and it's like an album. So I just threw it on the car there. It's like 29 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
It clocks in at around the same time as Rain and Blood by Slayer.
That's
always a good
That
sign.
was pre-planned.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play a track off it, if you don't mind. I'm going to take the initiative on you, whether or not you giving me permission or not. Are you okay with this?
Go for it.
And actually, okay, so you gave me 10 tracks, okay? So for a free Metal Sale mug, which track have I picked out of the 10? Andy, over to you first.
I don't know. I can think of 2. I'm going to go with Bruised.
Okay. Rowan?
Scylla Black Ops.
Okay. 80?
I
sounds like
think
a
you
no.
picked Hatchet Storm.
Ah,
That's my second guess.
okay. No, you're wrong on every one.
Shit.
So I'll give you another guess each.
Hercules.
Hercules, no. Hercules, it's a great track, actually. No, I think the reason why I went with this one
I'll find
is
the list.
because it's a potential single for me, anyway.
That's good feedback.
Enya?
Enya is a good one as well. No, so
Is it
Rowan, it's down to you.
Molarbear?
It's got a long title for the mug. It's got a long title.
That's not the intro then.
King of Queens of the Stone Age. Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, King of Queens of Stone Age.
Give Andy my mug. Oh, demo quality.
Can you make it, Richie?
Lads, I've just given you your single there.
Okay,
I'm
we'll take some
insisting.
notes.
I'm insisting. I'll drive up to Belfast and there'll be fucking murder if that's not the single. Super. What a fucking great. How did it come about? And how close is that to being ready to be? Is it? It has. Sounds like it has all the bells and whistles. Is there much producing to be left in it, or mixing in it, or what?
Those are literally just garage band tracks with, I think 80 has an electronic kit there, and he threw together just sort of the basic beats, and then we just got together on separate days and threw some of the stuff down. And literally the last thing that has gone down now are those ropely mixed vocals, and I think that might be the only thing that changes really, and then maybe some little sprinkles. Production.
Those are still very much sort of
raw
pre-production demos. Yeah, so we still record the whole thing from scratch again, but it was just to give us and the studio a bit of a heads up of what sort of sound we're going for, and get ideas down, because half the time when we're in the practice room, you don't really hear what's going on until you've tracked something.
Yeah.
Just with all the noise. So.
But I mean,
it's been eye-opening for me, like listening back and then like trying to put down what I thought the vocal line was, and then going, it doesn't go at all.
But I mean, you see, I'm old school, right? And even the sound of that is fucking, that's like kind of old school Fugazi and Beastie Boys. And of course, you're going to polish it up, I know, but I mean, fuck it, for a demo, I just fucking totally enjoyed it, as a lot of the tracks I did do. I mean, that just goes to show how good the technology is now to get it to that quality.
100%. I was sort of listening to the Pahilia one. They were talking about going to Neil and me and 80 when we were in.
Oh yeah,
Jackal Feud used to go to Neil, and like he's great, but like we couldn't demo anything. You were just sort of going in, and like you weren't taking that risk where you're like, okay, here's the money, I hope these don't suck. And like you're sort of really relying on someone. It's great to have Neil because he's got so much expertise. He was able to keep you right. But like you guys mentioned in that one, like you could get someone who isn't really into it, and then you have to manage that on your own. This helps us get all that stuff out the way, so we can go like, what are you doing there?
Yeah, puts us in on a bit of an even keel this time, because I don't think we demoed too much for the last album. I think apart from playing it live in the room, and then we just went in and recorded it. Whereas this time, because of the lockdown, we've had a bit more time to work on things, and having those demos is definitely going to be a big help whenever we do go in and record eventually.
Yeah. Like, what did you think yourselves? Like when he did Stork Lord and released it out into the general public, you had plenty of time to tour it as well. And as the songs being played live, was there certain tracks there that stood out? From, we'll say, the recorded version. Did it change much on a live format? We'll say.
I don't know if many changed.
I think we dropped half of them.
Maybe talk about that first, Rowan, because I know,
I'm looking frantically around for the CD so I can get the track listing.
Peace Hammer we played like once, maybe twice, and then made the decision that didn't really work as well as it should. And
but I was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, on the CD it's good, but it didn't really come across the way we wanted to, I don't think.
Ceratops as well.
Ceratops for sure. Yeah.
it was a labour of love to get that one, because it was maybe 2 songs that we hadn't really finished writing as we were going into it, and that was one where we just kind of went, I've got effects, you've got effects.
Yeah,
let's do bits here, and
we didn't think too hard about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like even we played that one actually. I think we played it twice. I think the last time we played it was at Fred's, only because
we had like an RM15 to play.
That was a marathon.
We can't play the same song twice, so
nobody would know any different.
But yeah,
I was physically tired after that gig.
Yeah, it was a sleepy night.
But I think that every other track on that CD we gigged to death. I think pretty much. Yeah. Like and I do think whenever we get back out again, there'll still be a couple of tunes I would say from it off it on the set list.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like a band, we'll say always like each track is like so personal to a lot of people, and then when you go through the whole recording process, and then when you play it live, there's certain tracks just stand out because the crowd react. Like obviously you're watching this, you know, and maybe some tracks just don't carry to a live audience.
We tend to have 3 people in the crowd, so you get a pretty good reaction to those guys around, right?
Yeah. So if 2 of them leave, then we have an issue.
But it's a really quick way of sort of cutting through all that sort of stuff. There's no
but most of Mortal Ape and Stalklord sort of hold up in terms of just being sledgehammers. Like they're really fun to play, and they keep everyone's attention pretty well. What was it when we did Scar Funeral from before? Like, it's one of my favorite songs, but like it just loses something when you do it live. Like there's something just, it doesn't carry. It suits being produced and being listened to on its own.
Yeah.
But when you bring it live, like
it's also like
probably need more like
long.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep people's attention. That's
people
why
can't go without a smoke for that long.
No. That's why I think all these new ones on the new CD, they're all clocking in at about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 and a bit if we're feeling saucy.
Yes.
So they're all pretty much to the point. Hopefully try and capture as much people's attention live for a short time as we can.
Well, like as a band, you know, you develop per album. You know, you get more experienced, you know what works and what doesn't work. How did you actually form, and who came up with the name?
He's responsible for the name.
Okay.
For sure.
Is he?
Yeah.
That wasn't me. Definitely wasn't me.
I think it might have been me. I think I saw it on the internet somewhere and I was like, that might be a cool name for a band.
On the internet?
It's like a dentist on the internet.
Yes, it is actually. Fucking hell. Yes, you're
sure. Being dentist sites.
Go ahead, Andy.
No, I was going to say, so Eddie and Rowan had been playing together in a band called Jackalfeud from, I don't know, 2003-ish.
Yeah, by that.
Like that, yeah. And I was playing in a band called, I don't know, I can't remember the first band I was playing.
You were inside, and you were the comparison forward.
Yeah. And look, I think I was with Serotonin when you guys started. But
right at the beginning,
yeah, but we had played a couple of shows together, and it was just kind of like, you know, when there's just like, we were like early 20s, and you just kind of see another band on stage, and you're like, these are my dudes. I know that these guys are going to be my dudes, and it was just very much a case of like a couple of pints, and then I think Halo 2.
It played a role.
Matches, but.
And what about Steve and Dara? Were they in other bands as well, or how did these lads join?
Steve was in a band called Escape Fails at the time. That was maybe a wee bit later, kind of 2010-ish, I think. And Dara's only a baby. He was only born about 12 years ago.
Lad.
So he's just a very hairy boy. But he was in a band called Aldous before.
I've heard of them, Aldous.
And we had just... our previous bass player and guitarist had sort of left the band about, I don't know, about 3-4 years ago, I think. And it just so happened that Steve was looking for a band. I had went into the music shop where Dara works and had just asked him about putting ads up, and he's like, yes, man, I'll do that. That was it. So it was pretty straightforward that way. That was about a year before we recorded Storklord, actually, would have been, wasn't it? So we kind of
What year was it, lads?
Maybe 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we kind of, as Molarbear, I think we had our first practice as Molarbear in 2011. And then we kind of started off, I was living in England for a couple of years, and then I came back and we kind of kicked it off properly from there.
We had Tony and Johnny on bass for a while. So like, we're the rare band in that our issue isn't that we go through drummers. Like, it's been bass players. Like,
yeah.
So...
And Rowan, where are you from? What's the accent? Is it Aussie or New Zealand? You're going to get insulted now here.
Derry. I was born in Derry, but I grew up in South Africa. And I live in Laois now and drive up to practice in Belfast.
Should have got the South Africa accent, man. I fucking know a few lads from South Africa as well.
It's been diluted over years of hanging out with all you guys.
There's a great scene actually out in South Africa, man. I'm going to do a podcast on it through the Smash and Skull sessions. 100%.
It was a really weird scene whenever I was coming up in Durban. Like I remember seeing a guy in a kilt playing this like death metal, and they had like, I just remember he had the same guitar as the guy from Typo Negative, and that there was a place called Jamie's in Durban, and people used to go there and watch gigs, and I broke my eye socket marshalling to some song, or it might have been Deftones before the band even played. But like, yeah, it's really strange that there's a lot of like rocky type. It's like, it's heavy, but it's rock. But I don't know what the metal thing's progressed like since I've been back.
Yeah, I know there definitely is extreme bands out there.
I must actually look back.
Yeah. Well, and when did you get out of there?
I came over in 1999.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a while ago.
That's a while ago. Yeah. No, it has developed, to put it mildly.
I moved to Ballymena a long time ago.
Jesus, the culture shock. The culture shock.
You have no idea.
What the fuck is all this wet stuff falling on my head?
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Now I'm in Ballybrittis in County Laois.
Were you always a vocalist, guitarist, or how did you figure that one out?
I think it was just kind of necessity. I always play guitar when I was about 16. Like I remember just going to guitar lessons in South Africa. I think we went to 2 or 3 acoustic lessons, and then after that was just tabs and that sort of stuff. Okay. And then when I moved to Ballymena, I met Adi through a mutual friend, and then we started Jackal Feud. I don't know, it just happened, I suppose.
I think we needed a singer, and you were like, I'll do it.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
And Andy, in relation to you, what about your influences? Where are you coming from musically wise?
I think like I grew up with like Extreme and Guns N' Roses kind of when they were at their peak.
Okay.
But then I kind of get into like the grunge thing, and then a wee bit of new metal. I don't know, like shit like Nailbomb and Sepultura was always interesting to me, but it was never that big into the metal. Like just kind of whatever was in crying or just annoyed me. And then I started getting more into like bands like Helmet and Quicksand and Fugazi and all that sort of stuff.
I like
this. I can play this on guitar. Like that was the thing. It was the metal stuff. I was trying to play it on the guitar, and I was like, I am shit at this. I only learned how to play Master Puppets properly here. But like I don't know, like the just kind of having that looser guitar style, and then just kind of dirty amps and effects and stuff. That was just always way more interesting to me, and just I don't know, there's something about it where I thought I could hear this being heavier without being Cradle of Filth or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know myself as a bass player, I was always drawn to kind of, how you could make as much noise as possible as an individual person, because back then, again...
You should talk to Steve, all right?
Yeah, because back then, like, trying to find people that would be into the same thing, I mean, like my background would be trash, but I loved the likes of Fudge Tunnel, and as you said, Nail Driver now, all that side of things and just pedals. So I can hear that so much with G. Are you all pedal addicts? Are you, or what?
Yeah.
Probably Mo's the worst.
What?
Mo's the worst out of all of us, I think. It's a new pedal every week.
It's not a new pedal every week. It's a new pedal every week. It's no, I don't know. Do you know what? Like, it's kind of like we're all at a stage of our lives where we've got a wee bit of disposable income as adults and good earning jobs. Yeah, very much that.
Yeah.
But, and it's nice to kind of go, if I sell this one, then I only need to put £20 towards getting this one secondhand. And even if I don't necessarily want it or need it, just having it is like, yes. And I think when Molarbear started, we had very small Rowan didn't. Rowan had the largest pedal board I've ever seen in my life.
The land piano.
The land piano. But it's kind of the effects thing was built up, and I think with Storklord, it felt like we literally threw as many effects as we could at it in some ways. And I think for this stuff, it's been way more refined. Like Rowan's kind of got like a setup where he does a very specific. He fills a particular range in the song, and I would do the same, but with maybe like delay type stuff. Okay. And Steve would have the whole thing going on, and then Dara has this precision like Top Gun soundtrack.
He's a good guitarist.
He's a good guitarist, so he can play like clean to a certain degree, and it'll still sound class. I don't have that luxury.
For those that are listening or watching, Molarbear has 3 guitarists.
Yeah.
So pedal hell.
To put it this way, these guys are also so into their pedals. There's at least 15 minutes of every practice where they're all just pointing at each other's pedal board.
Eddie, my heart bleeds for you, Eddie.
Circuit boards and
what about
to sit there.
What about Steve? Is he as bad?
Oh, he's worse.
He's going to have 2 pedal boards, I believe.
Oh, for fuck's
in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, his in the middle of his amp, there's like a gravity well, and that's what he plays through. When we came down to Cypress Avenue, I think he spent like an hour or 2 geeking out with the lads, and God alone, just at the
no better boys.
pedal bars. Yeah, they were like at it for hours.
Just pedal friends.
Like if he met Howard, who uses 1 or 2 pedals, it would have been way more easier, you know. But you have to mature to that level now, lads. You know what I mean? I'll give you another album, and then. You know.
Mo's right though. Like this is like we all sort of like have our niche in the new stuff. Like we all sort of found a slot, because having 5 people, it's difficult to get that. And like we were sort of heading that way with Storklord, and then we had the lineup change, and then the recording thing was ropey mainly because of diarrhea. Jeez. And then like I was super sick through the whole recording process, and we sort of like compacted everything to like it just messed the whole schedule up that we had like in our heads.
I thought you were taking the piss, really?
Oh, for sure. I was like,
oh fucking hell.
Shit
the bed. Yeah. So like I think up until I was 35, I hadn't shit the bed since I was little, but now that has happened since. So But like what I'm trying to say is like we're all finding a niche.
This fucking podcast.
How we got this out of it?
That's what we got.
That's really happened.
Eddie, put that up again.
Feel free to publish that. Buy it now.
Get one.
Shit the bed.
Classic.
So, but like we were all sort of like scrambling, I think, in the Storklord thing, even though we did the best with what we could. But now we've had like Eddie says, we've had the time, and we've had like we're able to look back on the demos and stuff and see sort of where everything's going, and it's been fun and trying as well, because sometimes you overthink stuff.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I definitely think a lot of bands do that. And again, that comes with probably the 3rd or 4th album, if bands can survive that long, that they get it, you know. I'm glad you brought Adam's stuff up. What a great artist. I came across Adam again there with Skated, because he did the cover of that, he is he up Northern Ireland anyway? Is he? Where is he located?
Yeah, he lives in Larne.
He took our first band photos in Jackalfield, if I remember correctly.
He's nice. A guy. He's been going as long as we have with different things. He was. I first met him, or I first knew of him. My first band had hired him, I think, to do visuals for a show they played in Dublin. So he had put together this whole thing, and it was kind of like streaming over the top of him. And then I had seen that he had taken pictures for Jackalfield. I ended up in a band with him about 10 years ago. And like he's the nicest guy. Like he just he's one of those artists where, and maybe it's different for me, but like when we text him and say, look, this is what we'd like, and he just type
here's something else.
You don't get any choice in this, you're just getting what they give you. I imagine he's nicer to other people, but like his stuff's just great. And
it suits your music.
Yeah, To be honest, it was one of those things when he sent through the initial Storklord image.
Rowan, I was going to wear the white one tonight, but it's actually dirty, overworn, overworn.
Get the wash on.
Yeah, go on, man.
Yeah, but he's like when he sent that through, it was just like this is exactly when you don't have an idea of what the music looks like. I think, and then as soon as I saw that image, I was like, that is just class, like really, really, really good. So, he's done like those T-shirts for us as well, and hopefully he should have started the artwork for this.
That's what I wanted to find out. Were you sticking with him? Good to hear.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Great
100%.
stuff. Yeah, and I presume, lads, that other bands can approach him, and he's very reasonable. Yeah.
Oh, he's class, 100%. Yeah, like I know he did that Draconis thing, just not long after ours.
That's right. Yeah.
They'd done that with Skate Band as well, and like I think you mentioned in that one as well. Like his style is quite. There's a quirkiness to it.
There is, yeah, Scottic. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
It depends what you like. Like if it's nice because he's expressing his art doing that, you know, and then you're not trying to control all the levers of everything, like, because otherwise you should just draw it yourself.
Yeah, but crucially, and a lot of these lads that are so talented at doing this, they are actively involved in the metal scene.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. They're either in bands or
they love that music.
Bands, and they love that music, you know.
Yeah.
So that's always a plus, and they understand as well that fucking bands are constrained financially as well, so they'll work around. They'll help you out in T-shirts and other stuff as well. Like they're a very important part of the whole metal scene, and I always love acknowledging them.
He's been very good to us.
Yeah. So Johnny Monroe. Let's talk about him for a bit. Let's acknowledge him. Who wants to tell a good story about him, first of all? Come on.
I just love him. That's my story.
That's fair enough. Eddie?
Yeah, Johnny's class. Like Johnny, even before he was recording us, we were obviously using his studio to practice in, and we were having some troubles with bass players not being able to make gigs or whatever. Johnny's was always there just to jump in, play the songs. He's done loads of gigs with us. Like we definitely wouldn't have gigged as much if it wasn't for Johnny.
We would not exist if it wasn't for Johnny. Like,
let's be honest.
Yeah, plus the recordings, plus the practice space, plus everyone still asks if he's Johnny.
He's a very patient man. He has to put up with us sitting in the studio, not really knowing what we're doing, but having a good time doing it.
That's Bearcat Studios for those that are listening and maybe
Springfield Road, Belfast,
want to record up there. You'd highly recommend them, lads. Yeah. Yeah,
well, I don't think Johnny's. We sort of run the lease with that now with Johnny, but we just use it more as a practice room. We had to move premises because we were getting noise complaints, so the studio part of it's gone for now. So
okay, that's interesting.
It's just a wee rehearsal space now, but no, like I say, genuinely could not say enough nice things about Johnny. Get in touch with him. He did the last Sky
Great player as well.
Sky Pilot, lovely lads.
We've all been playing in bands as well from the Jack a few days, and like we've all been in each other's orbits for a long time.
Yeah, because I mean that scene that's kind of grown up around certain bands. I'm glad you mentioned Sky Pilot as well. It's now matured to a fantastic scene and a great community. You're spot on. You know, there's young bands coming through as well. Crucially, that'll keep the scene alive and well. Big shout out there to Nomadus. I can't wait for their new release.
Yeah, I know like 2 or 3 guys who've been doing it, maybe 20. Like Andy from the Crawling. His first band and my first band played together loads when we were both starting out. Like Sky Pilot guys have been going 20 odd years. Senescence as well, they're another sort of metal band. They've been going around forever, and it's quite interesting to kind of.
I suppose I'm going to shout out Gamma Bomb as well. I mean,
they've been doing it for
long time
as well, and like.
But then you've got like Elder Druids shooting up as well, like in the interim, and like. They're all young lads, and they're blasting it.
So many bands, survivalists. I can't wait for their release. And Josh, A big shout out to Josh, man, doing a fucking Trojan job up there as well, getting some great fucking metal out to all of us. The production qualities is top class with Josh, man. He knows his shit, man, and he's so young as well, Andy. Fucking hell,
Josh. We used to, Josh used to sublet out the Bearcat space with us. So we've known him for, I don't know, a couple of years. So going back and stuff. So, but his current place is just, I think it's on the floor above our room at the moment. Yeah,
he's drumming for Survivalist at the minute.
That's
he
right.
Is, yeah. I was amazed at that. Yeah. It'd be like it's so frustrating that you have such an amazing scene, no more than us down in Cork, and we can't. It's just stagnated now. Everybody is recording at the moment, so I'm just hoping 2021 will just be a year of just fantastic gigs. But
I hope, like Richie, I think I had sort of posted up in the Metal Warfare forums actually sort of quite recently about that, and just kind of talking about how sort of gigging life is going to be different, especially for bands at our level.
What is gigging now like?
Yeah, like with the kind of the mix of the smaller venues that are gone, plus all of the more regular term bands kind of taking up every available slot. I think it's going to be, you're going to see a much more kind of grassroots DIY thing happening again. But
I think so, actually. Yes, that's a very valid point. Yeah. I mean, like you're looking at James Loveday as well, like with Distortion. Yeah, you like if James goes under, it's fucking that scene in Northern Ireland. That's a huge. He plays such a huge part. In it,
massive.
Yeah, he's pivotal.
But James has a massive. I suppose fan base is kind of the right word in Belfast as well. Like, you know, we did a show, like a Distortion Project benefit show a couple of years ago.
That's right, yeah.
And like the response he was getting from that was just class. And like James, everybody in Belfast has played a gig with James at some point, and he's always the nicest guy. And I hadn't seen him maybe 5-6 years, and we kind of bumped into him, and he's like, "Yes, man, give me a wee hug." And it's like you couldn't fault him that way, you know. He's just, you always kind of try and help you out with stuff. And I always like doing a wee James gig. It's kind of, I suppose, like a homecoming thing. You know, it's kind of, we've all got 20 years older since we first met, but we're still in the same position more or less. So.
Yeah, it's these guys are so crucial to the scene. They more or less anchor the scene, and they're the guys that are always putting out the fucking social media posts going, this band is coming, and they'll get in 2 or 3 other bands, and those bands might be younger bands, but they're getting their shot at it as well, you know. And like Eve rose up through the ranks now, so like there'll be bands hopefully next year, the year after, like younger bands trying to get their chance as well. And the likes of James in Belfast, the lads John Ard and Kieran for the Siege down in Limerick, Mark Morrissey and Con down in Cork. I'm not sure Galway scene is a bit fractioned.
It's not a long list, though. You know, that's the thing.
It's not, you know, and Dublin again is fractured as well.
It takes so much out of you personally, probably, to do all those things all the
time. Like it's massive risks as well. Like,
we take it for granted that there's someone putting gigs on somewhere, and this lockdown has kind of shoved that right back and gone like, listen, this is not forever. You know,
DME again are great in Dublin, and like they'll always have a smaller band on supporting the likes of Testament, Sacred Reich, or whatever, you know. But it's an important part to keep that network open, but it's different.
It's going to be odd to see when everything kicks back off. I think it's definitely going to be odd for a while. You'll kind of have your stalwarts, and then you just have this kind of random sporadic things kind of shooting up. And I think that's for us. Like, we're never really a big crowd band anyway, which is, you know what I mean? Like we did the Monolith gig in Cork a couple of years ago, and that was our first time playing Cork. But the vibe that we got off that gig was way more interesting to us. I don't know, there was just something about it where it was like, this feels right for us, for the type of band that we are. And to get that sort of, that crowd where like Belfast is maybe a wee bit more thrashy, metally sort of oriented, I think.
Oh yeah, like sludge down Cork, Doom, yeah, Stoner. That's a big fucking thing down here. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
By staying in Belfast, we were really limiting sort of the bills we could play on. I think, like.
But then again, would not the punk scene? Would not some people drift from punk into you as well? You've got that element as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we end up on a bill with anyone, I think.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Yeah, that's your appeal, I think, as well. Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, it's like when I think of, the Cork scene is very much sludge orientated, stoner. That definitely is there. More than traditional heavy metal bands, but we'll say the likes of Conjure and Fake can come down as well and then fill the venue as well. But there is diversity still there, and that'd be the old traditionalists, which would probably be the likes of me and all the lads back that were going to gigs in the late 80s into the 90s. But since the scene has changed so much, I wasn't really into sludge and kind of doom and stoner stuff, but probably 3 or 4 years ago, the quality that was coming into Cork playing that music converted me straight away. I had to. There's so many fucking great bands. I mean, you could just name.
Can I ask a question as a blow-in? Is there a Leash scene? No? In the Midlands? In Leash?
What's the closest to that? There is, yeah. Fucking hell. Because there's an all-day metal festival there.
There was. I heard about that, right? And then obviously it's not going to happen now.
That still is there. I can't remember the name.
We've got Electric Picnic down the road here sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's in this area.
Yeah, that scene is there. Because, I think with that scene in Leash, for whatever reason, a lot of the bands that were playing there were cover
I get the feeling it's very metal as well. Like
cover act, say
traditionally.
Slipknot cover act, Metallica cover act, and then they were putting in other bands as well on that bill.
If anyone's listening, hit us up.
You're just lazy now because you don't want to travel around. That's your problem.
Yeah, I'd like to play a gig just out here.
Yeah, of course it is. Nah, man, you have to do the hard miles, man. You have to do the hard miles.
Oh, we still do them.
He's doing like a 400-mile round trip for practice. So
to practice.
Jesus Christ!
You guys owe me an easy gig.
But like a festival now, like the Ritual of the Evil Eye in Crushkey Lawn, run by the Paranoid Beast, is perfect for you. You know, Sky Pilot now and the Crawling played there last year, and they had a fucking ball.
In the last year that we've been playing up and down between Cork and Limerick and Belfast as well, like those are some of the best gigs we've played, I think.
Like you played the Siege.
Fun we've had.
How good was that?
Siege was unreal. Great crack.
Yeah.
That was like I didn't know what to expect. I think that was my first time going down, and I think I don't know, like it was just class. It was such like an atmosphere about the place.
I just like that there's guys playing trad in the front bar, and then you like step to the back bar, and then all of a sudden your face is melting off, but you can't actually. The two are totally distinct, nearly, but everyone's having a crack. I thought it was great.
How hard was it not to drink?
Oh, we got plastered after.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you were on at around 9, was it, or quarter?
Yeah,
I was at it. I know. Yeah, it wasn't too bad when you were on.
We stayed down the road. We did a lot of running around with gear, and then I think we had a few beers afterwards. We weren't that bad.
I think we were sipping away during the day, but I don't think we exceeded the limit.
No,
before going on.
I always think the worst time to come on the Siege is like probably 12 or 1 o'clock, man. And because there's such a fucking great vibe the whole day, and it's a party atmosphere, and it's such a great place to meet so many other musicians, shoot the shit with everybody, and everybody's drinking, and then you're there going, I'm on at 12:30.
Yeah.
Shout out to fucking Condyle who drank the bollocks out of it and still got on stage and fucking played.
But it's that weird sort of conundrum where, like, if you headline, you're kind of better off being in that sweet middle spot where like everyone's arriving and sort of at the threshold of getting drunk. Whereas like right at the end, people are like struggling. I know I was.
So with all the demo tracks done and dusted, you will be looking at probably, it's like we're in December now, lad. So realistically, you're into next year.
We have provisional studio time booked.
Yeah, like a week ago, 4th of November, we were to go in, but we've had to bounce that back.
Yeah.
Obviously, with everything going on and Rowan being in the south. And so we're looking at the start of next year.
Yes, absolutely.
Level 5 lockdown for the win.
Who's the absolute genius? I'd be shot if I didn't bring it up. Who's the genius behind the videos?
Rowan and Eddie, I guess.
Well, we all did
we've the two main dudes. Great stuff.
It's a collaborative thing, I think, with everybody. I think all the videos, like, we just think of a silly idea that we can do and try and do it for
those
close to free as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's the ticket. Do it cheap and nasty. Like,
and have you filmed those actually on iPhones? Or are you actually using cameras?
It was a mix.
Yeah,
yeah, we did the Cyclops one, with the
chin one.
Yeah. That was all iPhone. And
excellent,
then
actually.
So was Glamorous Bones, wasn't it? So
mostly,
swinging
and then the rest GoPro and SLR.
I used to work for a university up in the north, and their media department donated some equipment, kind of, and so we used that to shoot some very nice shots, like the Rad Pit one is done
that
pretty
was great,
well.
man. That was great.
Yeah, it was fun, and when you look
at Swearwolf then as well, that's
single shot.
That was fun as well.
I was so pleased. I was on my honeymoon when you guys did that, and see when I come back, and I was just like, "This is beautiful. This is like the single shot." I was just like,
and
"Yes."
Beard and Rob at the time improvised that fight scene at the end. I had no idea that was happening behind me. And
really?
It just tied in. It was just
sound
like
effects?
Serendipity. Well, I just heard a bunch of kerfuffle, and I couldn't really turn around because I had to stand there with that stupid belt buckle poking into my stomach.
And me being a traditionalist, I loved Teeth and Bone the most.
Yeah, that was my son.
That was your son, yeah.
What? Yeah. Really?
Yeah, he was small enough to get the camera into awkward angles, so we were just kind of
hold on to earplugs and was like, work away.
Fucking hell, that's a great. It is, yeah, and it's I think it really caught you on fire, and it's a great song anyway, But
yeah, thank you.
That's amazing, Andy. How old's your son?
Yeah, he's 11 now. So, but you know what? It's good because, as a parent, you just
are you shitting me? Did he actually do it?
Yeah. Well, he did some of the kind of the outer shots and stuff, and then I think Eddie did some of the circle. Nate did the circle.
Nate did the circle. Any shots where we're all in it.
Yeah,
Nate did them.
Nathan, yeah.
You did the editing, Eddie. So that's on you.
They're all hastily edited together before and after work for a week and a half, just when I get a minute. The earlier videos, I was very much living the unemployed life when we were doing those, so I could spend a long time sitting clipping those together. But now I have to go to work, and I can't.
We also had we had a different way of doing things with those videos. Like, we were basically writing a song, recording a song, doing a video, releasing it, and that was the mode. So everything that came out then followed that sort of thing. So there's quite a few early on videos, and then we went Stalklord. We did the album thing, and now we're kind of still on that mode.
I would like to do some form of video for a couple of the new tracks, maybe just because we haven't done it in a while, and it's always a fun day just arsing about and filming.
And look, I gave you the single, okay? So if you had no budget, who would you get to direct King of Queens of the Stone Age?
If we had no budget.
Yeah, come on.
So actually what we'll do.
Andy?
You know what? In terms of... Jesus, I don't know. I love all that kind of weird, Russian 70s stop motion stuff. So... what are you...
Jason and the Argonauts is terrifying to me.
Those
we have to, Rowan. Rowan, we have to respect his decision. Give him a chance.
But yeah, I don't know.
So
I like the idea of something. I like one of the things that we're arguing about at the minute, and as a band, is the title of this next album, and it's really interesting seeing like everybody's kind of different approaches to Rowan's lyrics, and everybody's got a completely different vibe of it. And we'd set up this kind of vote yesterday or the day before, and we kind of whittled it down from 23 to 5 choices. And we're kind of like, right, okay, and we got to those 5, and we were just kind of like, nobody's really feeling any of these at all. So I think for me as a video choice, I'd be like, no, I'll let these guys do it, because otherwise we're just going to end up going, no.
Jesus Christ, I'm giving you like Brian De Palma, I'm giving you Martin Scorsese. Give me a director to direct the single, which is going to be King of Queens of the Sun.
What do you call the guy?
That's not Tarantino's song, man.
No, the guy
David
who
Lynch.
did Dark Kiss. What do you call it? Gosh, Marangi. No, Matthew Thomas. Is that his name?
Guided Brasa.
What movie?
Do you ever watch Garth Marenghi's Darkness?
No.
Chris Thingy. Isn't that him?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's this kind of like shoddy 1980s.
Go watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place for sure.
Yeah, man. Like it's.
Did you ever watch the movie Four Lions? About
yes, that's a classic.
I think it's that same guy who did Brasa.
Okay.
I could be talking totally out of school,
actually. We'll vote Andy out of it. Terrible. Eddie.
I was actually talking to the guys about doing like a sort of Twin Peaks inspired video, so I'd say David Lynch and just have
would that suit that song though? I don't think
Probably not, but
okay. Rowan.
Come on, Rowan. I try to figure out who does all the Busta Rhymes videos to make a joke, but I failed.
Oh, that's Hype Williams.
Hype Williams.
Yes, there you go.
No, I think it's kind of got a Tarantino-y vibe to it. I think it's going to be dirty, and
you look at the Beastie Boys there. I'm thinking Beastie Boys, and you know what, Busta Rhymes. Yeah, I'll give you that, man. We'll go with Rowan. He seems to know what's
going on.
Just a big
fisheye and all of us doing this into it for 2 minutes.
Fucking work, man. And you know what? You come in on under budget for that one.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
We have no choice.
And the weird titles, you all have fucking legendary titles, lads. Is that
We're
down
kind
to
of a
Rowan
victim
as
of
well?
the same thing?
Yeah, well, that sort of started as a joke. Like we've always been like, what we call this one, and then we just think of a stupid name, and then that'll be the working title, and then
it translates right across. Yeah.
I think it suited when we were still mucking around and trying to figure ourselves out, and it was fun then.
Don't ever change, lads.
We've got still the Black Ops so far.
Yeah. I love Militia Joan Hart. That's another.
Oh, that's 80.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Is that a mixture of Joe Hart, the keeper, and Joan Arc? Obviously, yeah.
No, it's. Do you remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Unfortunately,
back in the day, she's Melissa Joan Hart.
Oh, okay.
So
I prefer my version.
Joe Hart,
ex-English keeper, and Joan of Arc.
There you go. It's what you read into it, right?
It isn't it? Yeah. Don't ever change, lads. That's the main thing.
I can't even say it.
And Rad Pitt, Jesus, Labyrinth, dedicated to David Bowie.
That was well timed, that one. And the Rad Pitt one came out just as those two got divorced as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
We're killing people around the place.
Have you ever actually gone back to watch Labyrinth?
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
My wife has it on all the time. It's on our TV flat out. It's,
I can't relax watching it anymore.
No.
Man, over David
because
Bowie.
of his giant cod piece.
It's just shocking.
It's a great show.
I think that the hand thing's totally, that's the whole Jason and the Argonauts thing, like that. Not for me.
Oh, lads. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I must say it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you, lads. Fair play to you. I think.
Thank you for having us on, man.
Thank you.
And thanks for giving me the demo, man. It's fucking great. As I said, I have it. It's one long 28-minute slab of sludge. Everything else thrown in, and it's great. And as I said,
you are the first.
I am the first, and I
So
appreciate it.
we'll take any recording notes you might have. If that's okay.
I promise to make it sound better.
Yeah.
And do you know what? As I said, as a demo, you know, with the technology that you're using, a lot of the songs sounded. There's not much to be changed. Only just, as you said, just add some frills onto them. I think you're going in the right direction. It's definitely a progression from Stalklord. And, you know, I don't know how you're going to whittle it down. Or are you going to decide on maybe one or two more new ones that might come up? It is possible. Like, you have so much downtime that maybe could it be possible another 2 or 3 songs could squeeze into that demo?
I don't know. We're actually, 80 and I started
might be financially unviable to record more than 28 minutes of music.
We've got a very limited time in the studio, and
that new demo sounds good though that you guys did the other week.
Oh yeah. But no, Richie, we're kind of the plan of attack is very much we're right down to the last second with the recording time in the studio, so it's going to be holy shit, get it right. Holy fuck, how the fuck do we fix this?
Don't have diarrhea.
Yeah, this is fast. So, like we are starting. We actually started writing there again last week, the week before, just to kind of get back into the way of writing again, because every practice is just
play the album.
You know,
yeah, and then you hate it when you come to play it live.
Yeah, so we'll get that to look forward to. But no, I think, as much as I would love to, at the same time, it would be an absolute sort of kick out of left field for all of us now to kind of go, holy shit, new songs to learn, and kind of give them the same amount of attention we'll give the other.
Okay, cool. Okay, you've been listening to Molarbear. You've been listening to Andy, Rowan, and Eddie. Thank you so much, lads, for coming on the show. It's great having you on.
Thanks for having us, man.
Keep an eye on their social media. 2021 will certainly be interesting for the band. And
finance us.
Yes, financially. Yes, actually, there you go. Get on. They're a Bandcamp page. They're fucking great merchandising as well. Thanks, Ronan, for putting that in, man. And you've been listening to Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. Hit subscribe if you like the show. Share, convert, and like. And as I said, Molarbear. Thanks, lads.
Thanks.
All the best.